For today's lesson, we will talk about metaphor. And to be clear, when I say the word metaphor, I mean everything. I mean simile, analogy, symbolism, imagery, figurative language. There is a difference. For example, you might know the old difference that a simile uses the word like and a metaphor doesn't. And there is a difference between these things, but for our class, for the sake of general use, I will just say it is all metaphor. It's all an idea of taking one thing and applying its properties to another thing. And the reason we don't care about the differences right now is first we want to explore the power of metaphor. Why do we use it? Why do we care? Why don't we just write exactly the words we want to use? Because sometimes our reader is not as familiar with those words as we are. As writers, as communicators, the best thing we can do is use our words to help the reader or the listener feel something or understand something or grasp something. Maybe we want to change their mind. Maybe we just want to enrich their lives. But through our words, we are trying to help them grasp something in a real sense. That's why, for example, in a movie like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is a great action comedy with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, I recommend you watch it. When they are talking about how they fell in love, Brad Pitt's character says to Angelina Jolie's character, "I thought you looked like Christmas morning." When he first looked at her, he says, "I thought you looked like Christmas morning." It's more than just she's beautiful. Christmas morning, to an American, is the most wonderful day of the year. You wake up, there's no school, your family's all together, you have delicious food, and you're going to open lots of presents and toys. It's a day that is wonderful and will keep getting more wonderful each second, or at least that's the ideal. And every American child knows that feeling of Christmas morning. So when he tells his wife, "You looked like Christmas morning," it's much more than just "you're beautiful." It's much more than just "you're great." It's an extraordinary feeling that I can't even put into words. This is the best way to say it. The metaphor, or the simile, the metaphor is the best way to say how he felt when he first looked at his wife. For me, as an American. But maybe this doesn't make sense to you if you're not American. If Christmas morning is not such an important day in your culture, then maybe this is not as effective. And that's our goal in using metaphor. We think about who we're writing for, what they know, what they feel, and we use that to help them understand. Which leads us to an extraordinary poem by Abel Meeropol, which was then sung by Billie Holiday. And that poem is called "Strange Fruit." And we're going to talk about why it was so powerful and so effective, and why it became such a beautiful song. I mean, obviously the words are great. Billie Holiday's singing is amazing. But let's talk about the metaphor, the symbolism of the poem. And to understand it, let's talk about American culture.